From time to time, I go into topics in some level of detail, and people point out, hey, you're overthinking this. And on one hand, it's kind of a jackass statement. I am providing detail, I'm talking through this. But on the other hand, I give them some credit. They're right. In some cases, yeah, I am overthinking things. And yeah, the world would be a lot better place if we weren't so complicated all the time. And comics would be a lot more fun if we just read, enjoyed, or them, or hated them, and called it a day. So I'm going to make the case for why overthinking is wrong, and why maybe at least every now and then we should kind of just let things play out. Hey everybody, this is Perch. Um, you could apply everything about say to life, politics, whatever you want to do. But we are talking comics because this is in theory a comics channel. But it just applies to everything, and it's that people say overthink, and I think a better word is to say overcomplicate. Sometimes it's overcomplicating things. Like for example, I did a video a few days back just about diversity and the fact that companies introduce diversity characters, but then they seem to give up on those diversity characters. And maybe they should have a plan. Maybe they should actually put more effort to make sure that these characters don't get one issue and gone, or one issue and a press release and then gone. Maybe they should put a little bit more thought into it. And yeah, a variety of responses. I'm always pleased to note that 99% of the people, they get it. They get what I'm trying to say, and all the rest. But then you get people who come in and are like, oh, so you're saying that people have to have a plan before they can create any diverse character? You're putting up a wall? You're putting up a barrier? It's like, no, no, don't overcomplicate this. It's not that words like diversity and politics and inclusion and a lot of this have become triggering words on all sides. Just they cause people to lose just basic common sense. If you are producing a comic, whether it's got a indigenous uh, person inside of it, it's got a white male character, it's got a LGBTQ representative character, whatever it happens to be, your goal, hopefully, is to tell a story and have that story matter, have that comic be picked up, have that comic, you know, reach some people. I don't think anyone's like, hey, I'm going to create this new character for Marvel, and we're going to do some press releases about how it's wonderful that we're kind of tapping into this new market that's been underrepresented in comics. And I'm really thrilled because this character is going to get 2 issues, and then we're gonna cancel it, and then we will never hear from this character again. We've got the not the best artist, but an artist on this, and I'm really excited to be on this property that 1 week from now no one will remember. Nobody goes into this stuff thinking that. But yet we spend a lot of time talking about it, and the simple answer is easy one. Just try and make it work. Period. The end. Just try and make it work. Hey, if you're putting out a comic, whether it's anybody, try and make this comic matter. Try and make it last. If you're doing a new ongoing series, your goal should be to last more than 2 issues. Certainly more than 4 issues. Try and get into double digits. It's cool. Maybe one day, if everybody tries really hard to get their comics into double digits, we can get their comics into triple digits. Imagine what a world that would be, that 100 issue celebration, without having to kind of kookily come up with the numbers and add up things weird. Imagine how wonderful that would be. Uh, it's like I said, you could see this everywhere. It's with criticism of comics and media. There's this desire to want to deconstruct the criticism and to provide more weight and more complexity to it. Hey, it's quite simple. If you hate a comic and you go on Twitter and you link to all the creators, and then every day for the next 10 days, you insult the comic and talk about how it's the worst thing you've ever read and you wish the people would be drug into the street shot, then you're an ass. There's really nothing more complicated or not complicated to it. If you, the faceless kind of social media poster who's complaining about things every single day and pointing out tagging the people into it and to their face kind of screaming at them, If you happen to be white and the creator you're doing this to happens to be black, then it doesn't make, it doesn't automatically transform you being an ass or a jerk into you being a racist ass or a jerk. We're still good with ass. Like we just can sit there. I think that in an effort to provide more complexity, more weight, more deconstruction to everything in our lives, we've overcomplicated basic things. And when we overcomplicate them, it morphs. It suddenly you find that you're no longer kind of debating or arguing or doing common sense things because the person is a jerk or because the person's being rude. Instead, you're having to tie in race and bigotry and all this other stuff where it doesn't need to be. If you go on social media and you're a fan or you're a creator or whoever else, and you go on this weird obscenity laced rant where you basically threaten 42% of the country. Maybe you hate Donald Trump, and so you want to go on Twitter and you want to write something really, really angry about how all the people who like or agree or even think about Trump in some form or fashion are worse than Nazis. They're the worst possible people in the world. You're being an ass. You're not being a racist ass. You're not being a phobe ass. You're not being an elitist ass. You're just being an ass. That's it. We don't need more adjectives shoved in there to say you're doing something stupid. You're being a jerk. One hopeful outcome of this election, since it is so over the top, and because you're seeing people get so threatening to the other side about how they, it's not enough. We've surpassed beyond, Trump bad, get him out of office, into everyone who thought about supporting him maybe needs to go in some re-education camp. I saw this stuff started trending on Twitter. I was like, good Lord, how have we gotten there? And maybe one outcome of all this is that everybody shuts up more about their politics out of fear of, being triggering just random people. So everybody starts to keep their politics a little bit more quiet. That's like the best possible outcome at this point, right? Like everybody stops. I hope so. But in general, when it comes to comics, it's okay. I've done this video before many, many times. And I guess it's easy to say this on the positive, but it's probably more truthful, more truth to power for the negative. If you don't like a comic, you can just not like it. You could just, for no reason, you could just say, I dislike it. And if somebody says, I don't like a comic, you do not need to draw in all this other nonsense into it. That is overcomplicating things. That's overthinking things. You could just leave it at that. Person doesn't like the comic. The end. It doesn't. We don't need to go back and do making of a murderer type analysis into why this person said that they didn't like this issue of the Avengers. We don't have to scour the credits of that comic to determine if there's some non-white person who is somehow attached to the project and then draw the conclusion that this is some kind of weird toxic attack. It can just be that the person didn't like the comic. And yes, it works in reverse too. You can also like a comic. You could turn on Netflix and watch the She-Ra and like that and not be a socialist. You might just like it. It doesn't really matter why you like or dislike something, and we need to stop searching for answers into that question. We need to stop trying to draw conclusions as to why people hate or love the things they hate or love. It can just end there. And when somebody's acting like a jerk, maybe they're just a jerk. Not maybe, they are. They're just a jerk. Immediately pulling all this other stuff in is overcomplicating things. And it's frankly, all of this is taking away time from what we really want to do, which is to a insane level analyze the continuity and plot of comic books to make heavy arguments as to who is more popular or who is more powerful, Superman or the Silver Surfer. That we're taking too much time away from that all important Superman Silver Surfer argument, and that to me is the real tragedy. But what about you? Again, listening to reader feedback, yes, we do overcomplicate things. Yes, and I'm guilty of it just as much as anyone, if not more. But at least we have to try and resist those urges. We have to try and back it up a little bit, because going into all these degrees is not, it's not serving us well. We're not getting where with it. Blah, 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 tongue tied. Anyway, hey, like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications. Check to see if you're still subscribed. That's fun. And most importantly, thanks for listening.